Hello, witchy people. You may be wondering why I'm sat here in the dark with nothing but a cup of coffee, a solitary lit candle, and a snoring dog to keep me company. Well, many years ago, I used to run a website called The Haunted ChaCha. And on that site, I would write down the tales that people had told me, not necessarily ghost stories, just tales of strange happenings, weird goings on in strange places, eerie places, places that were supposedly haunted, maybe. So if you want to hear a few, grab a cup of coffee, sit down, and I'll tell you some. This isn't a ghost story. This is something that happened at Bluebell Hill in Kent. I'll tell you a little bit about Bluebell Hill first. Bluebell Hill is reputedly haunted by a phantom hitchhiker. The story varies, though mainly concentrates on the tale of a young woman who was killed whilst returning home from her engagement party. Other tales from the Bluebell Hill include a man who is found injured in the road. When a motorist stops to help him, he asks that they go to the police. On returning with the police, the injured man is gone. No trace of him or evidence of an accident is ever found. Also, there is the tale, similar to that of the phantom hitchhiker, of a ghostly figure of a woman who wanders into the road. Some motorists have even reported hitting her figure, only to find no trace of her after impact. My story is called Breathless on Bluebell Hill. A good few years ago, my husband Craig and I made a visit all the way to Pluckley in Kent, and also to Bluebell Hill, just to feel the atmosphere. Have you ever driven through Pluckley? Beautiful village, I must say. Just some of the residents are a bit strange, though I suppose that's pretty understandable when the village that you live in is listed as the most haunted village in England. Considering the reputation of Bluebell Hill, I was quite surprised when actually I didn't feel much there at all. But I did have an unexpected problem while standing near the public house, the Bluebell Inn. Just before the pub is a flyover, and halfway across this small piece of road, I was overtaken by fear. I couldn't breathe. I just couldn't take a breath at all. It was as though the oxygen in my body was leaking out somewhere. I struggled to cross to the pub, where I suddenly felt very well again. And no, I didn't stop for a beer. I was so afraid to walk back over that piece of road, but it had to be done because we had parked the car just further up from there. I picked a few forget-me-nots for my pressed flower collection and then braced myself for the return journey across that small piece of road. I was fine. I had no breathing problems, no dizziness, and no panic. Now maybe there is a perfectly normal explanation for the way I felt, but I don't know why I felt so strange. I still have those forget-me-nots that I picked, though I don't get them out very often. After I showed them to a friend who looked at them once and just said a name. I can't remember saying this name at all in any conversation we had had, let alone talking about Bluebell Hill or Pluckley. She was just having a conversation with me, stopped suddenly and said this name, and then carried on with the former conversation like she'd never said anything in between. It was weird. I haven't said that name to anyone else. I'm waiting to see if the pressed flowers have the same effect on any other person, and maybe I'll hear the same name again.